Hi, hi and hello. A few words about a war. I'm against any war, and this absolute pacifism means several unpleasant things for me because I must be asked, you're against the war which is unjust? Great. Are you against the war which is just? I live in Moscow. Well, at the moment, I live near Jerusalem, actually not far from Moscow, something like 30 miles or 40 kilometers. There is a monastery called New Jerusalem, Novi Jerusalem. It was just the usual medieval tradition to build a replica of some sanctuary from the Holy Land. It's a fine monastery without practically any monks, I think a dozen of them, and I live not far from this monastery. Still, I live in Russia. I live in Mordor. I live in the totalitarian society, in the despotic state. I was born here, my mother was born here, and my father. I was conquered, as well as all my compatriots, by Ulyanov, Lenin. And so my fate, my present state of being, is the same state of things under which Ukrainians lived for 100 years. I'm conquered by this unjust power. Am I obliged to take arms against the sea of despotism and struggle it? No, I think. Can I give some rational arguments against participation in any war, in any riot based on force, which is just the same, against any violence? Any? No, I can't. It's the matter of my uh, faith? No. Is it a matter of my worldview? No. It's just so. But I can see several words about present war. It happens so that I live in Moscow, but I'm a priest not of the Russian church, not of the Moscow Patriarchy, but of the Ukrainian church. It's simply by chance. Uh, I've entered this church long before the war, simply because Ukrainian church is more liberal than Russian church. And above all, I'm a Jew. My mother was a Jew. Although psychologically and culturally, I'm not Jew at all. I was absolutely and I am absolutely assimilated. My mother has been absolutely assimilated to the Russian culture. And Moscow Patriarchy is very anti-Semitic church, still. Okay, should I live in Ukraine now, in Kiev? What would I say? Actually, I've been in Kiev in March of 2014. It was a conference called by Mikhail Khodorkovsky, a famous Russian tycoon. Um, it was in some peaceful weeks between the aggression of Russia to Crimea and the summer of the 2014 was a very bloody summer. But it was in March. My eldest son has been in Kiev in February as a journalist, as a correspondent of Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, Radio of American Congress. So he was just amidst all this. Uh, we've been very anxious about him, me and my wife. Being Eastern Orthodox priest, I'm married and I have two sons. And I've said then in Kiev that mission of the church is, mission of myself as Christian is to proclaim peace, even when there is a danger of war, especially when there is danger of war and amidst the war. Peace, nothing else. So I'm against, I'm against, I'm pro-peace. It's just like with pro-lifers. They are not against abortions, they are pro-life. It's a matter of propaganda. Overton's window. I am against any war. And I will be asked, and I'm against sanctification of any arms, of any bombs, whether it is American bomb or Russian bomb or any other bomb. And then I must explain how then, what is the peaceful resistance to the Kremlin aggression? If all people will be pro-peace, then any dictator can conquer all the world, all the planet. Yeah, theoretically. Practically, we know that never in history any dictator managed to do this. Most part of its history, beginning from antiquity, the world is divided between different kinds of dictatorships. And freedom and liberty managed to exist due to the struggle of these dictators amid themselves. On the upper level and on the grassroots level, freedom exists simply because people do want freedom. And freedom is really like the grass, which grows everywhere. I know that my English is far from perfect. I've never lived in the West, and I only read books. And according to the rules, I think it would be better for me first to write my text, my speech, and then to read it or to learn it by heart, or to have a, how it's called, subtitles in front of me. I don't want this. I appreciate sincerity, and sincerity always accompany direct speech. So it's more important for me to be emotionally sincere than to be grammatically precise. Sorry if anyone will be bothered by this. I'm not sure that anyone will listen to this. Actually, it's my everyday pain that in modern world, anti-war movement in the United States and Western Europe is practically dead. I don't mention Russia, which is absolutely militarist country, and the amount of pacifists here is just several dozen people. I know them all. The same can be told about Ukraine. There is no pacifism in Ukraine at all. And we don't hear the voice even of the Jehovah's Witnesses that stop any war, don't take arms. And the Ukrainian Orthodox Church is not against the war, it is pro-war, because it's a patriotic war, and I'm against the war. I will make only one argument, maybe more psychological. You see, most words pro-war, most texts which I read in the web and which I listen are said by people who, just like myself, far from the line of front. People who will never be allowed to take arms, never. 99% of people in Ukraine, in the United States, in Western Europe, will never even try to resist by shooting. No, we're usual people. But we support the war, we support people who will kill, and we call them to kill. It's dishonest. It's a sort of manipulation. It's the worst scenario to behave. I don't want to sin. I just send other man or woman to sin, to kill. It's then I'm not a gentleman. Although gentlemen were people who've killed, and they've killed a lot. All gentlemanship was built on the war and militarism. Okay, I will stop here. God bless anyone who is listening to this. Bye.